You've just stepped into the Buzzy's Country Store podcast, part-time porch talk, part-time therapy session, and all heart. I'm Chief Larry, and along with your host, J. Scott Ridgell, we're serving up real stories with a Buzzy's twist.
Hello, welcome to the Buzzy Podcast. I'm J. Scott Ridgell. Behind the camera, doing all the directing and engineering and everything else, it's Chief Larry Eberhardt. And joining us today, we're very pleased to have Pam and Pat Birmingham. You guys are our first married together couple. We've had couples, but they weren't necessarily married to each other. So you're our first.
Wow.
How's that?
That's pretty cool. Wow. And we're still married.
How many years?
It'll be 39 this coming May.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So 40 next year.
Yeah.
How'd you all meet?
Okay.
Oh, you defer to him? Now, look, he can't do all the talking here.
Yeah, I know.
What happened was I had an apartment on Fairmount in Philadelphia, and Pam was riding a bicycle around what they call the East-West Loop, which is around the Art Museum. I was riding a bike, and I was going in a different direction. We got caught in a rainstorm. And so the bridges are huge. So, I mean, as far as how deep it goes, all of that. And so we met, exchanged names, talked for a little bit.
We all went under the bridge together.
And
Waited out the rain.
yeah, and didn't get phone numbers, didn't get anything. And I liked her from the first moment I saw her. I was
Isn't
just
that funny?
like crazy about her.
What'd you
And,
think?
Same. No, I was.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, we had exchanged names, I think, and that was it.
So
But I was like really interested to know.
you were going in different directions.
Well, yeah, and so we all went underneath the bridge to get away from the pelting rain. And
Did you live in the same complex?
No.
I mean, you must have lived nearby to be.
about 3 or 4 streets away.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Long courtship? How soon did you get
Well,
married after you met?
Pretty quick, because we, well, first off, we kept looking for each other over a period of a month and a half.
Kept
and,
riding that bike around?
Yeah, and just walking the neighborhood,
I had a little Shih Tzu. Her name was Micro, and I used to take Micro for walks because we were looking for him. So one day we were walking down the street, and all of a sudden I saw him, and I'm like, there he is. And it was Pat, 2 children, and then another lady. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. What's this all about? And then about, 2 weeks later, we ran into each other in the 7-Eleven. And that's when he goes, well, I'll be back in about a couple of hours because I've got to take my kids back to their mother and, blah, blah, blah. Give me a call at 7 o'clock. So 7 o'clock on the dot, I called him.
He told you to call him?
Yeah.
Huh. And you did?
And I did.
At 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Not a minute before, not a minute after.
You knew she was punctual.
Oh, yeah. But
Anyway, so that was our...
So then you got married, what,
got
a year?
engaged. Let's see, that was September. Got engaged in December and got married in May. So it was a short run.
And you were you were working in Philly too, right?
Yes.
And where was your water? Was that when you were doing the water?
No, this is long before that. And I was working for a company called Mackey, M-A-C-K-E, which is a company out of Washington. Back then, they're not in business.
Vending
anymore.
machines? Mm-hmm. Really?
And I had been sent up to Philly to kind of clean up a mess, and that's how I got to Philly.
So you were that's right, you were D.C. PG County boy.
Yeah.
And went to Philly. And so are you from, is that where you're from? But you worked there, right?
Yeah.
You were working for who? At the time?
What was I working for at the time? Would have been Lockwood. That was their name at the time. Lockwood.
No, Philadelphia Stock Exchange.
Did I work for the
Yeah,
exchange
that's
that
where you
time?
worked at when I first met you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, never
when-
mind. Philadelphia Stock Exchange.
I was trying to think back when you worked here at the store for me. Were you were in between jobs then, or what?
Yeah,
or-
that was when I worked for Lockwood, and then there were a whole bunch of buyouts. So it was Lockwood, which is a money management firm out of Philadelphia, and then they got bought by Bank of New York, and then Bank of New York bought Pershing, which is a clearing firm, and I worked for Lockwood, and then they put everybody that was in Lockwood, they put them into the Pershing division, and then I became part of Bank of New York. So it went through a bunch of buyouts to get to that point.
So who'd you retire here at the end? Who?
Bank of New York.
You were,
Yeah,
right.
that's what I was considered.
And that's only been recent, right?
February, yeah.
Right. Wow. So
Retirement. Ugh. Getting old.
again, I stopped saying getting. What are you talking about?
We're old.
Where you get to
There's
be
no getting there.
Yeah,
We're
you hit
there.
70-year-old.
We're there.
All right. So how did you end up down here, down at Myrtle Beach? That was and when was that?
2006.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this too. 2006. You and Brian and Sharon at the other end
Right.
of
Yep.
that's Lake Drive, right? Or
Yeah.
there's
Well, they're on Chesapeake.
Chesapeake.
We're on Lake.
You're on Lake.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then I took the store over in '07. It's just kind of funny how all that happened about the same time.
Yeah,
You
it
were
is.
plank owners of my SOB club, my South of Buzzy club.
Yeah. Yeah. We were.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I said, you guys didn't have to lie about going to the dump and
No.
stopping at Buzzy's.
No.
Because Buzzy's
is on the way. Which I've done on occasion.
Well, how did you decide to move south?
For years, Pam and I would come down, like once a year, I think. My parents are buried up at Medley's Neck, and
Okay.
so and
So
the
he-
family itself, my grandparents owned houses up near Camp Maria, up there. I don't know what that river is, but whatever it is, and. We would come down every year. We bring the dogs, and it was the old Quality Inn or something where they allowed dogs. And of course, at that time, I think we had 3. We're up to 5 now, but I think back then we only had 3. And so we would come down, and we had made a decision. Hey, let's look for a weekend place, and that way we'd come down, and we kept driving around. It was just everything was just too expensive for a weekend place. So in 2006, I was with a company, and we had a parting of the ways. And Pam and I were in a bar one night, and we had been talking to this guy
That
we bought
owned
the,
the
that
place.
owned the house before.
Oh,
yeah.
the Fox.
Well, actually, it was
The
the Taylor.
Taylors. The Taylors owned it, but
Yeah.
the old Fox house. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he, over a period of 4 or 5 months, he kept saying, I'll lower it. And he did. He kept lowering the price. And finally, we were at a bar in Philly one night, and
Uno's.
Uno's, Pizzeria Uno's, and we had quite a lot to drink. And I said to Pam, why don't we just move down there? And Pam goes, well, I can't. I said, well, I can.
Because you had the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have the
So we called this guy up at like 10:30 at night, and he said, well, I was just thinking about you guys, and he dropped it another amount. I said, okay, we'll come down Sunday. And we came down, and we did everything on a handshake. No real estate agent, no nothing. And settlement was set for like maybe a week later. I mean, it was quick. We wanted to buy it and get in, and a couple days before we go in, the hurricane hits down here.
Is that an omen, maybe?
And we're like this. We drove down, and it worked out really well. He had already been here by himself for 9 months because his wife was head of hospice for St. Mary's County, and then took over hospice of the state of Arizona.
Yeah.
So
She
she had
had
already
already
been
moved.
there she'd already been gone for like 9 months. And so, yeah, that's how we got the house.
And you had sold this, you were unemployed, retired,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so you were still working.
Right.
So it didn't matter to you, right?
Nah.
Now, were you...
Mattered to her. I wasn't
yeah.
working.
Well, and you actually commuted. Didn't you go back and forth for, what,
Long time.
10 years? Or, Mike?
Oh, at least.
It
You'd
was, yeah,
leave
10
here.
years.
I
It was 10
remember
years, yeah.
on Sunday, right? You'd have to go back.
I would come down early Friday morning. I'd work from home on Friday. And then I was there Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday about 2 o'clock. Go
Well,
back up to Pennsylvania.
you're probably happy during COVID, right? Or,
COVID happened, and well, I was already down here, and then the COVID hit, and I got a call from my boss saying, okay, we don't know how or what's going to happen with COVID. Just stay down there till we tell you. I had an apartment up in Pennsylvania.
right.
So I'm like, okay, fine. So I just stayed down here, and then months went by, and they couldn't do anything to let me back in because nobody was allowed back in the building. And they finally just said, okay, just stay down there, and you can give up your apartment. So I did have to go back to Philly and get out of my apartment and move down here. And that's what I did probably after about a year, I guess. of
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah, it was a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And
that
then-
was a good thing, right?
I mean, well, people would talk about COVID, and I'm like, oh yeah, believe me, it was it's a horrible thing, but I have to admit, it was good to
Kind of.
me
Sorta
from the
worked out
perspective
for
that
me.
I
Kind
got
of
to work
worked out.
down here.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
people, you
Yeah.
know, a lot of
Yep.
people.
Yeah.
And but for you, after it was over, COVID,
Mm-hmm.
it's still not over yet. Who knows? You got to stay. They let you
They let me
continue to
stay.
work from down here. Wow, that
Yeah,
was
they
pretty
considered
cool.
me a remote employee at that
Ah.
time, and just said that's fine, just stay down there because they had some other people that wouldn't even go back to the office. So they said, okay, you can become a remote employee, but over time they've all changed and they've all started saying you got to be back to work, you got to be back
Mm-hmm.
2 days a week, 3 days a week, that type of thing. But they never told me I had to come back 2 or 3 days a week, so that was good.
Great.
It really worked out
Yeah,
well.
worked
Yeah,
out
it
well.
did.
Yeah.
Before we talk about your school teaching, when you went back to work for my sister,
Yes.
we'll get to that. But let's talk about the puppies for a moment. You had a dog. Were you always a dog person?
I've always had dogs,
Did you have one?
but
when-
I did not have one in Philly. And so she comes walking down the street, and there's this little Shih Tzu. And this dog just ran up to me and went crazy. And
Yeah, that nailed it right
Did
there.
you now? Are you one of those women that if the dog likes him, he's okay. If the dog doesn't, he's out of there?
Oh, yeah.
Or-
Oh, yeah. I'm
Very much
definitely
so.
like
I don't
that.
know
And
about.
this dog,
I never really was a pet person, so I said
Ah.
that's why I'm not getting any women because they know I don't.
well, what happened was after Micro died, and Pam started doing research on what kind of dogs to buy and stuff like that. So we bought 2 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, and we bought them out of New York. And
I'd never heard of them until you guys and
Yeah.
Jenny, of course. And
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
a baby Saint Bernard.
that's
right?
what they are. Yeah, it's pretty much is what
So
they
what's
are.
they
somebody-
looked so alike when we saw pictures of
The
them.
same.
Of Bruno, yeah.
Yeah.
Bruno, yeah. But yeah,
Now,
no,
was that-
Cavaliers are supposed to be really, really good with people and with kids.
With kids
even. And
especially.
we had,
yeah. My 2 daughters. So,
yeah, so we wanted to make sure we had dogs that were good with kids.
So you got them when you moved down here?
No, we got them.
Up
Up in
Philly.
Philly. And
Gotcha.
then we brought them down.
Right.
And then they got older, and we met a breeder by the name of Mandy Mulligan. And she introduced us to Arlo.
Winston.
Winston was the first one. That's right. Winston, and then Arlo. And then
Jackson.
now we have Jackson.
Yeah.
what do you-
I mean, just so people understand, it
JJ.
was obviously Winston Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sold us, and we wanted a kissy dog, is what she said. She goes, you guys like to be kissed by your dogs. I want to give you a kissy dog. So we got Arlo Guthrie,
Yeah.
who was a definite kisser. And then she bred Arlo, and we got pick of the litter, so that was Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown.
Oh,
Yep.
Right. And then
then sure. You got
so-
3, right?
yeah,
you got 2 more?
Yeah.
You
Well,
got
because
5,
then-
don't you?
Yeah, but like Jackson's dead and Arlo's dead, so we
Oh.
got Marley after Bob Marley, again bred by our other dogs, and then Marley we ended up with Mozart, which everybody gave me a
Right.
hard time about. She gave me a really hard time because I wanted to go with classical music for a change, and
I'm with you, Pam.
yeah. But
How-
she
how
let me
did-
have
I
Mozart.
like all music, but
She let me have Mozart.
How did Mozart get in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's-
then the next one was JJ, who's
JJ
named
Cale.
after JJ
I
Cale.
like that. I like that one.
Yeah, and then
she called him Jack Jack. And so we had to come up with something that was close. So we came up with JJ, and then we're like, oh, yeah, there's a guitar player.
Sure,
player, yeah.
sure.
Yeah, JJ Cale.
and then finally he's just a year old now. We have Elvis. You have to have an Elvis in there somewhere if
Yeah.
you're going to be talking about
Yep,
music.
the king.
Yeah, Elvis was my idea, and I'm like, don't give me a hard time after Mozart.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you,
Yeah.
you gave in on Mozart. You
Yeah,
got
I
Elvis.
gave in on Elvis.
Well, now don't you still do the shows? Do you still show them?
Not anymore. We used
were
to.
doing that, right?
Well,
We were showing. Yeah. So, I mean, who was it? Arlo was the first champion.
champion.
And then
Did you ever win anything?
Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, money,
Oh no,
Oh, no.
they're not geared for that. You get
ribbon, or something.
Really, no,
Ribbons.
well, ribbons, but you get really nice gifts. I mean,
Yeah.
so, like, we got a big, gosh, what was it? We got couple candle things that were all, they had spaniels on them and stuff like that. So, I mean, they're just
tchotchkes.
that kind of thing.
Blankets. I mean, it was all kinds of different things that you
Now,
were doing.
did you had to pay someone to show, like at Westminster, you had someone go out there and walk around with
Yeah,
them
we
and
didn't have to
do-
pay for it though, because the breeder had a daughter. Mandy had a daughter, and so she just loved showing the dog. She was in love with our dog, so she did it really for a number of years.
Yeah.
Would you go to the
But-
shows?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Always went.
yeah.
Arlo didn't need anybody to walk him around that show.
He was a natural.
He just walked out and just became king.
Huh.
And, so then her daughter was going to school, so she goes, Pam, can you do it? I'm like, gulp. What? She goes, I need you to go out there and show Arlo. And I'm like, okay, it's Arlo, not a problem. So I did it, and it worked out pretty well because Arlo knew what he was doing. And, so it was
just
like,
had
Pam
to follow.
did.
He
Yeah,
led- he
Pam
led me.
followed him. Yeah.
yeah, he led me, but no, and he won, so that was fine.
So
That
you're a
worked.
dog trainer winner.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah. Then I had to do Jackson. Well, that was a little harder because
Uh-huh.
Jackson wasn't like Arlo. You really had to lead him and walk fast and do all that kind of stuff. But
He became a champion.
He became a champion.
Yeah, he became a champion also.
So then Mandy's like, "Wow, okay, Pam, you can do it. You can do it." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, maybe." And then we got JJ, and she goes, "Go ahead and take JJ out." So I did that, and we lost. So it's like, I don't know.
Your career was over?
I felt defeated at that point.
Yeah,
yeah.
But all right. Anyway, so
But we're not doing it anymore. But now
But it's
JJ,
a lot of work. It's,
it is.
it's a lot,
it
and then
is.
travel to
Yep.
like.
Oh, yeah.
What would you go?
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you turn
yeah.
the dog in on Friday and then you go to hotel and come back Saturday?
Oh no,
Or-
dogs with
no,
you
it
the whole
stays with
time.
you. Yeah,
Dogs
the
with
dog's
you.
in the
Yeah.
hotel with you.
So you go over Saturday morning and
Yep.
and then they take him and then you go up in the stands and just watch.
Yeah.
No, you hold them.
Oh,
You
yeah,
hold
dog
on to the
stays
dog
with you.
until you know what group you're in, and then they call the next group, and you know what number you are. They give you numbers, so
Huh.
you have your little number on, and so you know when you're going to go up there. And
So
they all
were
get in
you
the
in
line, and then you.
Little dog classification or
Yeah.
how
Oh
they
yeah,
got?
yeah. These are toys,
Toy.
I think.
What
yeah.
they call toy classification.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
the males are 25 to 27 pounds, but they're still considered toys. So.
Wow.
Yeah. But JJ has just become a stud. So our breeder.
She's bred him.
And do you
Sometimes.
guys get anything out of that? Does she pay you back anything? Because these are expensive
Yeah.
dogs. I know.
Yeah. They
Just upkeep.
yeah, they there's kind of I guess it's actually might be spelled out. The puppy's got to or the dog's got to produce at least 3 or 4 puppies within the litter. In other words, if only one dog makes it through the litter, then you don't make any money or anything like that. But if it's a larger litter, then yeah, you can make some money. And that's up to the breeder and
The stud.
to
Or-
and well, we had the stud. So if it was one of her dogs, you made a little bit more money because you didn't have to pay another breeder, or you didn't have to deal with another breeder. So you kind of kept it. When you get more than one breeder, that it gets a little bit more confusing.
But you always get pick of the litter.
Yeah.
So you get pick of the litter, or you work out the payment.
you
thing,
work
and
out.
we
the
always
pay.
took the pick
We
of the
took
litter.
pick of the.
But obviously you weren't in this for the money.
No.
Right.
No.
Not at
It's
all.
like here at the store. If I was here for the money, I wouldn't be here. I mean, that's what you do with these dogs.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Well, speaking of not making any money,
Yeah.
how did you decide to go to work at St. Michael's School there?
I was actually
You were subbing.
at
Right.
Spring Ridge, and I remember you. Actually, I was in here, and you said, "Hey, Lila needs to talk to you," and I was wearing shorts, flip flops, and on my motorcycle, so I just drove it all up there. That was my interview. I was not dressed for success, not at all, and got to talking to Lila, and it worked out pretty good because I didn't really want to leave Spring Ridge either. So I worked at Spring Ridge in the morning, and as long as I worked past 11, they had to pay me for a full day. Then I would leave at 11, go to St. Michael's, and I taught advanced math for 3 hours a day. So it was really the best of both worlds, and I did it. But then the following year, Lila said, "Hey, I need a full-time advanced math teacher," and so that's what I did. Started, working for her, and I worked for, I think it was 5 years, 3 or 5. I think it was 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, tell your.
I'm trying to remember exactly what led into it, but we were in the classroom, and I can tend to be a little bit irreverent, and which I was my whole time at that school. And if the kid would give a wrong answer, I go, boom, you're wrong. And it got back to Lila.
Well, the kids went home and told their parents that the teacher was making like he was shooting them.
Yeah.
I could see how that would get translated. You know what he does? Boom!
Didn't quite look at it that way. But, yeah, so Lila calls me into the office.
You got called into the principal's office.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were like 12 again? Or?
Well, I used to get called into the principal's office a lot.
Right.
So it was like,
Old
no. Yeah, I mean, there were things I did. I went one Halloween as Christ, and I had the thorns in the head and all of that. And Lila was just like flabbergasted. You can't do that. I said, well, too late now. I'm here, you know. And so I was walking around the school all day teaching as Jesus Christ. And then somebody one year, Anna, who was
Sure.
Sixth grade social studies, we decided to go as a priest and a pregnant nun.
You were pushing it.
Didn't go over
You
well.
were pushing it.
Yeah, Anna said, Pat, I can't do this. She's going to be really mad. And I said, oh, come on, it's just a joke. It was not a joke to Lila.
I can
would
imagine.
do things that would just kind of, you know.
Well, then you
Rock the
were
boat.
helping me out here in the evenings,
Yep.
and you made some comment once about your yin and yang. You work at the Catholic Church with the Saint Michael, and then you're at Buzzy's in the evening.
Throwing out booze. Well, and that, if you remember, that was kind of really when we'd stay open late. And I think Larry would probably remember this. So we always had a good crowd in here, and I'd crank up the music, you know. And I was a bartender earlier on in my life, and I always remembered that, you know, if it's starting to get slow, buy a round. Well, that gets everybody all kicked up again. And so we'd be open till 10:30 at night, and it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun when we were doing that. And then actually, you worked a little while.
Yeah,
at
that
the
was
same
before.
time.
He
Yeah.
mentioned that earlier.
You know, I was
Yeah.
going to say that you were my first couple, but Dad had Lorraine and Tiffy, and they would work Friday nights for him, and it was on. They had their own crew, their own
Right.
party clique that would come in, and they partied pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah.
And they enjoyed it, and they were a good team as far as
Yeah.
running the bar. But so you were. In the Buzzy lexicon, you're number 2 as far as that dynamic, but with me, you're number 1. You were my first married couple.
But I tell you, it was a lot of fun because we would stay open late, and the crowd, I mean, you'd have 10, 15, 20 people still here, you know, and finally at, you know, 10:30 or 11, I'd say, okay, we got to go. I have to go teach tomorrow. Okay, we're done. You know, but yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
You know, you're lasting, and I'm looking at it. In fact, I was going to bring this
the
over.
dollar.
Larry, would you mind getting drinking the last
Oh,
beer
yeah.
at Buzzy's?
Oh, yeah, that was-
You're
yeah,
not taking. You're not.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
You're
with
taking
me.
it with you?
Well, it's up to you. It's your.
Well, no,
choice.
you did it. It
Yeah.
belongs to you. Well, I'll take some pictures of it.
Yeah,
and
because that's a great story too.
well, tell that story.
So Kim Wiley and it was midnight, and the drinking had to stop at midnight. That was it. And so I can't remember who was bartending, but
I was here. I got a picture. It was Doug
Yeah.
Byrne, you 3.
yeah,
And-
that's right.
And Pam had called me. What time you coming home? I said, I don't think I'm going. I said, nobody wants to leave.
Yeah.
These 3 want to be the last,
And so we
they're
were
not. They're
slipping.
dug in.
And we were slipping dollars. Like there was a thing on the counter, and she'd put $1 on, so she'd think, okay, I'm done, and then she was going to get her $1 and buy the last one, and I did the exact same thing, and I outlasted her by like 2 minutes.
Well,
'Cause
I
it
called
hit
it.
12.
I called it. I took the picture and I said,
Yeah.
all 3 of you win.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
all. We're over. Because I was
Yeah.
ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then you said, is that it? And I said, that's it. And then you picked up, I think you hit it under the koozie box.
did.
And said, then mine is the last dollar beer. And I didn't know what to say. I went, "Oh, okay. Well, then you were nice enough to do this.
Yeah, we had it all framed.
I'll put a picture for
Yeah.
the on
But
the
we
blog.
had it all framed, and
It's a Corona. That's the only.
It was
Last time,
it was
yeah.
a duel to the end to get that last dollar in there. But yeah, it was.
You know, when I got the shirts made up, the people at Chesapeake Embroidery say, "Is this your nice way of telling them you're raising the prices?" And I went, "Yep."
Yeah, but even, I mean, the price is still. I mean, you go out anywhere else, the prices here are still great. I mean, you can't beat the prices that
Oh,
you
no.
pay for stuff
That's-
here.
yeah,
Now,
well,
little
that's-
plug for Buzzy's there.
Huh? There you go.
Little
Yeah,
plug,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And business-wise, how about when your jewelry? And I tell everyone about the jewelry that I really did think I was humoring you.
Yeah.
I did it to just kind of not want to say no. No, I don't want to fool with that. We're not going to sell any of that. And as it turns out, it's
started-
been a hit.
Yeah, started
And it
selling.
amazes me. The young ladies will come in, and then their daughters will. Oh, Mom, I like this. And you've done two things that I think are really smart business-wise. You know, you got your prices right, and then you've got a nice variety there that you'll help them if they want it in silver or gold. And,
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
a lot of times, Pat's here, you're here, or whatever, and the people are looking, and I go, oh, good, I'm glad Pat and Pam are here because they can go over there and
Yeah.
fool with them because.
Well,
Yeah,
But-
it surprised me, to be honest.
How'd
I
you start doing this? Was it?
Well, I mean, let's see. I was with BJ Gray, and BJ wanted to learn how to make jewelry, and I thought, that'd be kind of fun. I'd enjoy doing that. I love jewelry. So, I mean, it's like I'd love doing it. So we went to a friend of hers, and she started telling us how to do certain things, and that got me started on it. And I mean,
Okay.
obviously, that was 15 years ago. So anyway, then BJ kept making her jewelry, and then I started making other jewelry, and I needed a place to try to do something with it, and that was when I talked to you about it. But yeah, I learned when I got down here. It's not like I did that all my life.
Now we've talked. Are
Yeah,
you taking the jewelry with you too? Pat's taking the sign. You're taking the jewelry.
Well, I'm hoping that
We'll figure it
find
out.
a place down.
Well, she's hoping maybe like a small consignment shop or something along
Yeah.
those lines.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, you get down there, hell, they'll love that.
I think so,
I
too.
mean, you're.
I mean, it's costume jewelry. It's not expensive, but it's fun to make. It really is. And I mean, remember, the only time I had to make it was either after work in Pennsylvania, and then I would bring it down here, or over the weekends. And so it became my way of dropping like all the pressure from work
Yeah.
and doing all that, and just
like therapy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very much
oh
so.
yeah.
Very much
And
so.
I mean, everybody else is like, "What do you mean? You had to count the number of beads. You had to do this. You had to do." And I'm like, "I know." It was like my brain was like completely taken off of all the pressure, and all I was worried about was putting together something and being creative, and it
Yeah.
really helped a
It
lot.
did very much
That's
so.
something to be
It
said.
really
And
for
it
that.
kept me in the lifestyle I've become accustomed to.
Yeah, right.
But the other thing too, you mentioned, and it's really been kind of interesting because I know Gary has sold some of your jewelry when we weren't here.
Yeah.
Jennifer upstairs has sold jewelry.
You've
Brian
helped a lot.
Barnhill's sold jewelry, and then so it's been kind of interesting to see the people kind of collaborating together to
Yeah.
help Pam sell her jewelry. It was pretty cool. You know?
Well, we've got boxes that you
Yeah,
have
well,
that you put.
and I have to give you credit because the way that I learned how to do my jewelry was it'll last longer if you put them in little plastic bags because that keeps the air away from them and they won't, because again, it's costume jewelry. It's not really expensive sterling or anything like that. Anyway, so I would put it out, and then when I'd sell it, I'd put it in a little plastic bag and give it to the person. You said, Pam, you really ought to think about using boxes. That would be kind of nice. So then I looked into that, and I bought a bunch of boxes, and I brought them down. I said, the next client, when they bought something, I said, would you like a box? And they go, oh, yeah.
They do.
And,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
do.
That-
and I do credit you for that because that was your idea, and it was a really good one. And I've done it ever since.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And
but-
in fact, I've had sometime I get them. I said, "Would you like that in the box?" Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll go back and buy another one.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I never know. Are they buying this just to get the other box, or should I put it in the same box? That kind of gives me a little
we
dilemma.
got plenty of boxes. Not a problem. So,
Boxes are
yeah.
throwaways.
Yeah.
But no, that helped immensely. So, yeah, it was good.
You guys got anything you want? I'm saving you getting out of here. You just
Yeah.
dropped a bombshell on me that you're going because I kept thinking, well, if the house doesn't sell,
Yeah.
they might be hanging around. So what's I know the reason why, but just 25 words. Why are you doing this? Why are you going?
I tell you what, we
It's always money's always the answer. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Money's the answer to every question.
Don't get political.
as I said to you, we would come here every year, but the other place we always went was North Myrtle Beach, and at one point in time we owned a couple houses down
That's
there.
right.
And so we rented those houses not as a weekend or a week-long thing, but we actually rented to people who worked there all year round. And so that would make us also have to go back. Even though we had a property manager and all that, we still have to go back every year and check on everything. And so, so we've always had a great love for North Myrtle Beach and Cherry Grove and all of that. And to one house, our renter was, he had turned it into a house of ill repute, maybe the best way to put it.
He was making money.
Yeah, he had Russian girls in there, and so he was like, and so we had to get him out. And then at that point, we're down to the one in an empty house, and then we just said, you know what, we've been doing this for 10 years, let's just stop, get out of the property business down there. But we never lost our love for that area. And so, and I thought you might ask us, one of the things I was thinking about, we lived in Yardley for 20 years.
Pennsylvania, Yardley,
Or,
Pennsylvania.
We are now coming up on 20 years here. And it's almost like, okay, time to move. We've been here 20 years, let's go.
That's true. It
but
doesn't seem
it's
like
just been-
20 years.
yeah.
Though. It does 06.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
said that, I did the math. I went, it's
Been 20 years. But over the last, 3 or 4 years, we've kind of say this place is just too big for us. It really is. We don't need this much space. And so we started thinking about it. And then Pam retired in February, and then I turned around and retired a month later. And so then it was just kind of like, okay, let's make the move. And that's what led to it. Now, to the thing I told you today was that we have a great place down there.
You've
And
already
so-
bought, you've signed and put some
Yeah.
money down.
Contingency.
Yeah, it was
Contingent on you selling
on
here?
and
Oh, so there's still hope.
oh no, we pulled a contingency. So we've already notified them that we'll go to settlement. It's up in the air. At first, it was going to be the 15th of September, but then we kind of said, no, let's push it a little further out. So now we're looking between the 20th and 25th, whether this place sells or not. And our real estate agent will be responsible for keeping the property up and doing all that. But,
Showing it and everything.
yeah. And I just think we're older. We're just ready, and slow down a little bit. And the house is half the size of the one we're living in. Well, it's 1,700 square feet versus 2,700. So
No lawn to mow, no 2 acres to mow or whatever.
No.
Very
The-
small.
yeah, it's a small backyard. It's all fenced in, good for the dogs. And
That was important.
I was down there, I don't know, 6 weeks ago and found a bar.
On the Buzzies?
I found a Buzzies too. And that was actually kind of important to us because 20 years here.
Others have said that.
20 years here has been, and I'm talking about Buzzies now, has been absolutely wonderful for us, okay? We've made friends, some lifelong, but this, Keith and Jen from Montana.
Oh, yeah. They used to come
It-
visit
this is something
here. at
I don't think
Buzzy's.
people understand about Buzzies, but they came in, we met them, we drank stupidly, okay, but we had a great time. And they were down here for like the whole weekend, so we spent a lot of time with them here at Buzzies. We didn't like go out to dinner, we just spent time here, okay, 3 days in a row. And then like a couple years later, they called and said, hey, we're coming back into town to see you. And that's why they were coming into town. They would come in for the weekend to spend the weekend at Buzzy's. And so when you look at it and say, okay, what did Buzzy's mean? I mean, for us, it's just been, you form friendships, and again, some of them lifelong. Some are just friends, but some are deeper than friends and all of that. So you kind of, it says something about the atmosphere of Buzzy's. Okay, so when I went down there, and it was kind of funny. This place is called the Pilot's House, and a biker bar, but not. I'm not talking pagans, Hell's. I'm talking about military vets, all of that. And so my first night there was a Monday night, and nobody talked to me. And of course, I just sat at the corner bar. Next night, there were 3 combat vets sitting at the tables. You walked in the door. They immediately said hi. I said hi. I introduced myself, went up to the bar, and I bought them around.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Always buy a round, right? Well, then they bought me around. Well, then it started to really
Open up.
Yeah.
Well, so then Wednesday night, or that was Monday night, or I'm sorry,
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So Wednesday night I go down. Well, they all know who I am now. And it was just a party. It was such a great time. And then,
They wanted to talk to his wife.
yeah. And so they got Pam
got
on the phone. And all of a sudden you knew this is a good place. Because they just kind of, they're not, I don't know how to word it, but they're just like Buzzy's people. They're just down to earth, but they do like to have a good time. And so when one guy wanted to talk to Pam, and he's got a leg missing, a vet, and he talking to Pam, and he took his leg off, and he put his stub or whatever on the bar. Okay, and I'm sitting there going like, oh, only down here could you get away with that. Just absolute crazy, you know. And so
He was putting his feet up. He was
he was putting his feet up. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
He
But
was-
they
he
actually
was-
took his foot off.
He was relaxing.
Yeah, but
Now, how far is this house from your place?
the bar,
Yeah.
3 minutes.
You're in New River?
Little River.
Little River.
Yeah, so you have Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Cherry Grove, Little River.
Okay.
And then we're literally 2 minutes from the North Carolina border. So we're right at the edge.
And the Pilot House is just down the road from you?
Right through the stoplight.
There you go.
So-
There you go.
and we had put an offer in another place. We didn't get it. And so then we put an offer in this place, and I said to I said, well, does this put me closer to the bar? He said, oh, yeah. Yeah, you're a whole lot closer. I said, okay,
That's
we're
your
good.
priority. That's your priority.
So,
But anyway.
That's funny. Joe Stone did something similar when he went to Fort Myers. That was one of his. He wanted a Buzzy's within a mile or
Yeah.
2 blocks or
Yeah.
whatever, the
Yeah.
place
Yeah.
where he could go in the afternoon.
yeah. Well, I think, I don't know how you define it, but I mean, Buzzy's has a lasting impression. You take it wherever you go. Because when you go, even like you're going on vacation, that's the kind of place you're looking for. You don't want to go to the tourist trap. You want to go to where the locals go and stuff like that. So
Sure.
Buzzy's has this kind of
Nasty.
deranged long-term effect of like, I got to have a Buzzy's. I can't move if I don't have a Buzzy's.
My son Shay I told Shay, I said, I've got a lot of second district people coming down the store. Not a lot, but a handful. And I said, I'm really kind of honored by that they would. He said, well, Dad, that's not too hard to figure out. He said, you've got locals and they're friendly. He said, the ones over here, they're not that friendly. And he said, down there, all your people are friendly. And I get that a lot. Everybody. Now, Buzzy's used to have a little bit of a rep of not being too friendly. The people
Right.
would come in, and he had his clique here behind and it would get quiet and all. But that's what I like about you guys here, that when someone comes in, welcome to Buzzy's.
Yeah,
Get a beer, So that's like, and in my theory, I thought of this too when you were talking. You get what you give. If you go in and act like a turd, you're going to get treated
Yeah.
like one.
Yeah.
You go in and buy around, like I heard someone say once, you know what I do? I go in one of these little redneck bars, and first thing I do is buy a round. He said, it's not going to hurt you, not going to cost you $20.
Yeah.
And he said, and then they like you.
Yeah.
They let you stay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and of course, my introduction to here was looking for Jimmy Collison.
Yeah, we were
Because-
looking for a tree person,
Looking
and
for
they
a
said,
tree
"Oh,
person.
go up to Buzzy's," and we're like,
Yeah. and
"Okay."
that should bring back the 4 o'clock club.
There we
'Cause
go.
They're all part of the
Yep.
4 o'clock club, which I became a member of, and but that's what got me into Buzzy's, because I said, well, how do I find this guy? They said, go to Buzzy's. He's there every day at 4 o'clock. Sure enough, I showed up at 4 o'clock and I bought a round, and Buzzy was here, and Buzzy looked at me, and he obviously had no clue who I am. And he goes, you know these? I said, no, I don't know these people, but I need to talk to the tree guy. I bought her, that my first day in here, I bought her around. Yeah.
That was our introduction to Buzzy.
That was an
That's how we
introduction.
first found out about
Yeah.
Buzzy.
Yeah.
Looking for a tree cutter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Well, Barbara Zapata, when she rolled in, she came in and said, somebody told me, she said, I need some work done on the house. And they told me, go to Buzzy's. They can hook you up with anything you need.
Fine.
So sure enough, Duncan was here,
Yeah.
introduced him, and Duncan went down. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's kind of cool.
yeah, it's,
Well, you know,
it's
you
a good
mentioned
neighborhood place.
The 4 o'clock club, Jim Gray, when he was selling his boat, and I had somebody come in here Saturday morning, he said, know anybody selling a big boat? I need like a 30-foot, boom, boom, boom. And I said, yeah. And I knew Jim was selling his. I called Jim up, and Jim said, tell him meet me down Drury's in 5 minutes. So the guy said, oh, okay. And I told him how to get there. And then when he's leaving, I said, let me ask you something. You're looking for a boat. Why did you come in here? He said, my old man told me, you ever want to find out something, go to a country store. He said, it worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'll give you that, but you were a little bit lucky.
Yeah.
He didn't end up buying Jim's boat, but when
Yeah.
Jim came in, well, you had all them down at Myrtle Beach, right?
Yeah.
With Clutch
one
and
time we
Marcia and
did,
Jim
yeah.
and BJ.
We did it for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right,
what we
yeah.
did was we at that time we had a timeshare with Wyndham, and so we had all these points, and we just couldn't use them. And so Pam came up with the idea, well, why don't we bring people down with us, and they each get their own room or their own condo. And so, well, yeah, I guess that'll work. And sure enough, first year went down, and everybody had a blast. It was just a great time. And then we did it second year in a row. And I think we did a third. I can't remember. But it was either 2 or 3 years. But it was great. They had no expenses other than driving down. The condo was free, and
Yeah.
all of that. And it really didn't cost us anything because we were trying to get rid of points that we were just wasting.
Couldn't use them
and
up.
Couldn't
Yeah.
use up.
We'll have to do a part 2 because I know some of the stories that I heard after the week down there.
Yeah. There's some
Yeah.
memorable stories involving
And kind
Jim
of tripping
Gray.
into the,
yeah.
yeah.
The ditch in the road that was
Yeah.
6 inches. That
Tripping
they
and
thought
then
was
falling in
6
the
feet.
ditch.
How about this? We'll film your going away party.
Okay.
And have stories people can tell. Pat and Pam story.
Yeah,
Remember the night
that should
that
be
he-
interesting. Yeah, that should be interesting. But yeah, we always enjoyed going down with them, and there's some really great stories coming out of that.
Good
Some really
times.
stupid stories, but they were funny.
Good time. They were funny. Well, thank you very much. And like I say, maybe we'll do this again if you don't slip out of here on me.
No, we'll let you
Never
know and
slip
all
out.
that.
We'll do a part 2.
Yeah, that sounds
Sounds
great.
good.
I'd love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
This is Chief Larry, and if you're enjoying Jay Scott and the Buzzy's Country Store podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, you're always welcomed here at Buzzy's.